Greetings, my fellow scholars of the livestream. I'm Visuasat from the Cosmo Canyon Observatory, and today we're continuing the rough analysis on the latest batch of screenshots released in March 2020, containing the new battle arena, more wall market, and some interesting locations in the Sector 7 slums. As always, there might be a few spoilers here and there, depending on what you consider as such. You have been warned. Now, if you happen to like what you're about to see and learn, don't forget to press all the YouTube buttons or even consider supporting us by tossing us some gil. Links down below. Alright, let's continue with this new addition to Wall Market, Corneo Coliseum. Located beneath the bustling streets of Wall Market, the Corneo Coliseum gives brave fighters the chance to engage in brutal battles against both man and monster. Oh, so we have a battle arena here now. It's really nice. Wall Market sounds more and more like the Midgar version of Gold Saucer, and I like it. Because you do need a place of entertainment to just let off some steam and battle foes and do some squats and other things to have you pass the time. Before we go inside, let's take note of a few other details first. Here you see the same serpent statue from before, this one here. So now we know at least the orientation. If we go up the stairs here and turn right, we reach exactly this building and the entrance to Corneo's Coliseum. This one here also looks like it has come right from Wutai. I kind of think that the Wutai War has brought Midgar some riches, and Don Corneo just managed to get a slew or a myriad of trinkets from there to build Wall Market. But if he built Wall Market or made others do it, doesn't really matter. However, what's interesting is the description of Wall Market in the blog post says, built on the ruins of the collapsed Sector 6 plate, Wall Market is Midgar's biggest and most infamous entertainment quarter. So here we have it, folks. Sector 6 plate has fallen, or at least parts of it. I really hope the remake makes it clear what exactly happened here, whether it's part of the main story or we have to ask around and have NPCs tell us the story, or data logs or whatever. I don't really care. I just want to know what exactly happened, because in Before Crisis there's no real indication whether the battle against Zirconiate was fought here in Sector 6 and caused the plate to drop or not, but it indicates that it's outside of Midgar. Also, this battle against Zirconiate in Before Crisis happened shortly before the main game, not years before. So the plate has to have dropped maybe 5 or 10 years before the main game to give them enough time to build up Wall Market, because this one is not just done in a few months or even a year. Also, even if you look at all the buildings, especially Corneo's buildings, this architecture here is the exact style of Wutai. Alright, now let's go inside. And we're in the first tournament. It looks like there are many tournaments because it says record first tournament, Cloud Strife. This kind of sounds like the different cups in Kingdom Hearts, where it had the Phil Cup, the Pegasus Cup, the Hades Cup, and another one I think. Each cup consisted of at least 10 battles. So this could function kind of the same, like each tournament has a certain number of battles. If you get through them all, you win a tournament. And then the more tournaments you can get in a row maybe, or just in total, the record will go up. Now what's interesting here are the hands. Do you see them? Those hands kind of remind me of Madame M, because he has a hand massage parlor in Wall Market. So each tournament could have a theme dedicated to one of Corneo's associates, like Madame M, Leslie Kyle, maybe Chocobo Sam, Andrea Rhodia, and maybe even Corneo himself. And each tournament would then have a certain theme of enemies, maybe also have different numbers of fights. It's hard to guess. But what I do like is all those people here cheering for us, or for the enemies, who knows. But what I'm hoping for is that the cheering will be in tune with the action. So when Cloud, for example, staggers an enemy, a cheer would go through the crowd, and the even bigger cheer when we defeat an enemy. And if Cloud gets hit or Cloud gets thrown to the ground or something, then it's either a boo or a oh. I'd like that. Sort of a feedback for how well we're performing. Now, let's have a quick look at those enemies here. I'm not sure about this assassin here or the thief, whatever it is, but this one could be a modern representation of Vice, which is kind of a bandit roaming Sector 5, and this one will steal your items. It's quite a different design though, so it could be a different enemy, but here Blood Taste is pretty clear cut. I really like how they added black parts on this reddish fiend. The original was completely bathed in red. blood. So it's nice, we get to see even more enemies here. Next up are some honeybee shots. We've already covered the entrance, but in this screenshot we have a few new elements to cover. The most obvious ones are the bees here. Remember how I criticized how those bees weren't there on the poles here anymore? Well, they just moved it up here. Instead of those weird hologram bees, we have now wireframe bees. Maybe they're just stationary, but I kind of hope for there being a cute animation up here. Now at first glance, I thought we see Tifa here, but no. Tifa has much longer hair for one, and her dress is quite different. She also has this belt-like accessory around her waist, which this woman here doesn't have. And I think her rack is a little bit smaller than Tifa, so nope, it's not Tifa. Next screenshot here is just another view on the performance here. We've already seen in the theme song trailer. There's nothing new to glean in here, so we're just moving on. This one is new. This is the entrance/lobby of the Honeybee Inn. And thanks to the flower here, the flower bouquet, we know that the entrance, the door, is here right to the left. Some of you might have seen our tweet about this, but there were a few cut background renders that didn't make it into the final game. This one had kind of a similar lobby or entrance area. It had different colored lights. It had a counter with a red background, and also a door with the stairs that go up, and also an entrance to another room, just laid out a little differently. Now, this one might also feel a little bit familiar, because it is also visible here in Wall Market itself. And it says, Don Corneo presents something circus something. We've seen the dancing scene here, but I don't think there are swinging honeybees around. Interesting. What's also interesting is the stairs that lead to the upper floor, which could lead to the original part, as in the hexagonal original lobby or entrance area which led to the private rooms. Because the blog entry says the following about this screenshot. This unique venue also provides private rooms for its more discerning customers, allowing them to enjoy time in private with the performers of their choice. There's also this bit. Situated in Wall Market, the Honeybee Inn is the area's premier nightclub and offers nights few will ever forget, as its staff frequently reminds its patrons. And further up, the description of Don Corneo's mansion even says the following. It's an incredibly lively area that offers plenty of, let's say, intriguing ways to pass the lonely nights. So it's not really subtle anymore. This is a full-on brothel, just extended with a show floor for pure entertainment, before or after the pleasure. Now, this one is interesting, not just because Tifa is here, but this room is 100% the dungeon in Corneo's cellar. Why? Because of the cage on the left. Here, there's also a cage. And it has many pipes all around, as we see here. Like pipe, 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 pipe. There's a toolbox. And here are tools laid out over this table. So this is pretty much a torture chamber. While her armpit still looks a little bit weird here, at least we now see a detailed version of her earrings. Is it just me, or does her hair look a little bit puffier than usual? Anyway, look the detail in her dress here. It's all glittery. Nice. And we get another look at Aerith, which looks pretty much the same as in all the other shots and footages we've seen so far, so I won't go into analysis mode here, but we do see Corneo's Coliseum here in the background, with the Utai statue and the serpent on the right here. Also parts of the neon lights on top of the broadcast tower. This is also the gym ad on top of the gym itself. And we can also see parts of those ads here and the Tsuyo-chan hiragana letters in one of the previous shots. Here, Tsuyo-chan and the upper one of those two ads. And this shot here of Miss Cloud is just a screenshot of the trailer. Or no, not quite. It's a few frames later, because when they reveal him, we still see the fans, the fluffy fans on both sides. So this is a better shot of the scene, but there's nothing more to glean. So if you want to know a bit more about this scene, you'd have to check out Game Analysis number 21. Alright, let's change sectors. Finally, we get to see the Beginner's Hall, which is situated to the right here in the original render, right across 7th Heaven. while the layout is a little bit different and the orientation of all those different stories or levels, floors, it still contains roughly the same establishments and areas and rooms. First off, we have the weapon shop right here near the entrance. Here it says tool shop, sale, probably some discount around, who knows. But when looking closely, we can see the same safe from the original over there. And all the boxes can also be seen here. While all the other details and where it's arm, guns and weapons and chainsaws and claws are all displayed on the back wall, we see nothing here, which is a shame. At least Cloud has an independent material in here. Maybe it helps him. Next up, on the first floor is probably where we get out to then ascend to the next platform. But in here, there's the actual beginner's hall. We only see Biggs and Wedge in here. In the original, there were so many other people, like Muscle Man, a girl and a boy, who Cloud taught how to use limit breaks, and all the other people with the falling down chest and the dog and the jumping around save point. I'm pretty sure all of this doesn't happen anymore, because the tutorials are scattered all over the place, over the game, and not confined to a single point, like the beginner's hall in the original and the beginner's hall number 2 in Junon. So there's not really much use for like a singular point of tutorials. Instead, as the blog post reveals, this is beginner's hall, a location where you can learn the basics of weapon enhancement. The second floor is used as the base of operations for the Neighborhood Watch. So Avalanche is pretty much part of the Neighborhood Watch, but there are more. As we can see, a few other people with guns checking the streets and making sure Sector 7 is free of crime. Or at least I hope so. This makes sense. This is probably the base of operations, and Avalanche might be the leader of the Neighborhood Watch, who knows. At least the whole design is still the same. Pile of boxes that gets higher in the back left corner. Then there's the cage, the fence surrounding it. I'm wondering which building this is. Is this the back part of the item shop? Because the item shop should be on this side. Speaking of, this is the interior of the item shop. Why? That's why. This has the same, whatever that is, some heating contraption. It has some stools there to sit. It has the same L-shaped counter. Not L-shaped, S-shaped counter. Shelf with some receptacles or whatever those are. And even some boxes here. And if you need even more proof, the original has some signs here, especially the flask and the X, plus Materia katakana inscription. And here in the FFVIIR screenshots with the quests, we can see the same guy with the same signs behind him. The flask, the X, and Materia. Same guy, same guy. The original one had a much older guy, so maybe this is the son of the older guy, or they completely changed the NPC. And now comes another very interesting game mechanic. Jukebox. When you wander around town, you may come across areas playing special music. And now let's just go back to Wall Market again, to this part here, with the boxes, or the speakers, I should say. Now, it says you may come across areas playing special music. I'm pretty sure we hear special music when approaching here this drink vendor, or potion vendor. Now it says you can get these songs as music discs from shops or citizens, and when you acquire a disc, an icon will appear in the top left on the screen, which is this one. It says question mark, so maybe it says that before you get it, or you only know what you got when you insert the disc into the jukebox. So one of those. Could also be that as soon as you hear the music, which is probably what this one here is, you hear the music, it says, oh, there's the music, but you don't know what. Then you speak with the vendor, and then the vendor gives you the piece of music, or you have to buy it. Then the name appears, and it's unlocked for all jukeboxes. Why all jukeboxes? It says here, once collected, you can play a disc on any jukebox. This one can be found in Tifa's Bar 7th Heaven, which is this one. You can see one of the pinball machines to the left. Now in this case, we only collected the prelude and Tifa's theme. So we can press X to play and then keep scrolling around as we play Tifa's theme, but have the prelude selected. And it's nice, it seems that each track has its own cover art. I wonder what Tifa's theme has depicted. Is it an in-game screen? Is it artwork? I prefer artwork, to be honest. Anyway, as soon as we start playing a song, I think this curved light here will light up, because in the Tokyo Game Show trailer, we've seen a corner of this part and it wasn't lit up there. Remember the short pan of Cloud trying to hit the dartboard. Now before we check out the next, there are two more things I'd like to point out. First off is the Chocobo Show poster we've seen in previous trailers. And here's a better version of Party Sparkly Season, which can also be found in 7th Heaven, in the scene where Song finds Aerith and Marlene in the Tokyo Game Show trailer. Last but not least, we have a screenshot of Leviathan's tidal wave attack, I think it's called. It's interesting that it has part water and part lightning, which is doubly interesting since the blog post says summons are a particularly powerful type of materia. Equip one to a character and they'll be able to bring a powerful ally into battle. Today we're introducing a summon that will make quite the splash. Yes, he does. Leviathan. Worshipped as a deity in the Wutai region, yet another reference to Wutai, this non-elemental summon takes the form of a water serpent. Did you catch that? Non-elemental summon. But it is a water serpent. So the original Leviathan had the water element attached. I think the only one next to the enemy skill Aqualung or Aqualung. So it's interesting, as it also says here, Leviathan evokes a savage beauty as it rises from the briny depths, generating tidal waves that wash foes away. So the attack itself is water-based, but the damage is non-elemental. It's interesting. However, in the icon key from the demo, where we see all the icons from elements to status effects to other icons, there's no water element listed. So they probably wanted to keep the element list short and tight to make it not more complicated than it needs to be. And since Wutai is also part of the lore here and gets mentioned a few times, it probably made sense to include Leviathan too. But I wonder what they do then in part 2 when we go to Wutai. Interesting. Now I could see that we acquire Leviathan summon in Wall Market, as this seems to have the biggest ties to Wutai. This could be that the serpent, Leviathan, the summon materia has also been confiscated from Wutai by Shinra and eventually landed in Don Corneo's hands. Interesting thought. Before we end this, let's quickly check the new render we got from Leviathan and compare everything to the original. Now the original had also those tendrils, I'd say, and also the same fins, at least up here, but next to the 3 fins that the original model also has, it has 2 bigger ones, which we can also see here, but the remake Leviathan has an additional bat wing-like or dragon wing-like fins or attachments, or however you want to call this. It could be that he uses this to, or she, I don't know, Final Fantasy XV made it into a female. So maybe this one here is female too, who knows. Anyway, since this water serpent here seems to float around in the air, it needs additional wings to fly. So I'm pretty sure this is why they attached this additional dragon wings. Now here you can't see it that well, but it has the same tail fins. So it's a pretty nice representation of the original Leviathan. I like it. And with those observations on our favorite serpentine deity also ends our rough analysis for today. As mentioned last time, we decided to release shorter but more frequent videos, so please look forward to our take on the new scenes from the first part of the documentary called Inside Final Fantasy VII Remake. Have we missed anything you spotted? What do you think about Corneo's Coliseum, Tifa, Aerith, and the remade Sector 7 Slums? Let us know by leaving a comment or starting a discussion on our Discord server. Link below. Again, huge thanks to Master Supporter Dachtega for helping with the analysis. If you really like this content and want to see this channel grow and turn me into a full-time analyst, please check out the support CCO section in the description down below. We are eternally grateful for your generous support. That being said, thank you so much for attending this rough dissection of those screenshots, and I hope to see you again in the next analysis video. And always remember, stay safe and take care. FFVIIR signing off.